Well, today I would like to look at a short story by Harlan Ellison, The Region Between. This was a novella in Galaxy magazine, March 1970, and appearing in the Five Fates anthology edited by Keith Laumer. The Laumer anthology has stories written by Laumer, Poul Anderson, Frank Herbert, Gordon Dickson, Harlan Ellison, and they are all based on the same concept of a character named William Bailey's apparent suicide at a euthanasia center. Each author extrapolates a story from that beginning. This story certainly seems to be influenced by George Bailey in the Wonderful Life movie, and George being shown the ripple effects of his death. So that seems to have an impact on Harlan's story here. All of the authors do great work in this volume, but this Ellison is unique and will be the topic of this report. Both publications display Ellison's unique printing, but only the Galaxy magazine issue adds important graphics by Jack Gaughn. I was more than a little surprised to see this in Galaxy at 15. Galaxy probably should have split their magazine into two versions, one for 18 and up and another for under 18. I think not doing this bit them within 6 years. They were gone. Now, this story is mild by today's standards, but it would probably be considered R-rated at minimum even today. Ellison is well known for his Outer Limits, Demon with a Glass Hand, and Soldier episodes, his Star Trek episode City on the Edge of Forever, his short Repent, Harlequin Said the TikTok Man, and his Dangerous Vision anthologies, which the first one, I recall, does include Keith Laumer. Keith Laumer and Harlan Ellison worked together on several things, and Harlan Ellison worked quite a bit with A.E. Van Vogt, which some people think is kind of surprising. Now, Harlan also did a whole lot more work in the SF field, and I won't try to take all that on right now. Now, Ellison's take on the premise of William Bailey going to the Euthanasia Center is that sentient beings have souls, and that souls have become a commodity to be stolen, bought, and sold in the marketplace by independent high-tech thieves. This results in a sort of instantaneous network-based reanimation, reincarnation, galactic black market that caters to the associates of a being robbed of his soul by a soul thief, and then they refill that guy with a purchased surrogate soul that can be transferred, paid for, and returned instantaneously through this galactic-wide, instantaneous traveling system. So in this story, Harlan Ellison covers a lot of topics: the value of meaningful work, the costs of and reasons for some wars, religion, black market effects, life after death, and what existence is. This story is written in the most unique style I have ever seen, and it must have been tough on the printing folks back then. I will post a link to Ellison's YouTube video regarding A.E. Van Vogt's and many others' recognition by the SFWA. Very interesting and probably about 30 years old now. But we'll start with Five Fates. Again, Keith Laumer edited this. It has a lot of great writers, and all the stories are very good, and I like them all. But you'll see what I'm talking about with the Ellison here. So he goes through all 5 of them. We're going to skip to the region between. And I will just show just a bit of that in this one. So you can see something of what I'm trying to talk about here. Here's a good example. The main character, William Bailey, has committed suicide in the Euthanasia Center, and something very strange happens to him. He has passed away, and death came merely as a hyphen. Life and the balance of the statement followed instantly, for it was only when Bailey died that he began to live. Gaughn has a lot of great illustrations in here. This story is very interesting, and the illustrations are pretty wild. There is a little bit of bad language and bad activity in this story. Not much, it's not anything drastic, but this is for people over 18. Bailey has passed away, and he has expanded into this gigantic consciousness. He is traveling through different galaxies, and then suddenly something happens to him, and he becomes trapped in the lens of the succubus. The succubus is one of these soul thieves who deals in souls to reanimate other people who have been, whose souls have been stolen by another soul thief. So all of this is pretty interesting. All these different souls here are being gone through. Harlan gives us a demonstration of what it's like to be trapped in the lens of the succubus and what it's like to be the being whose soul has been stolen. He's really not much aware of what's going on at this point. And so Bailey's first assignment is Pink, a soldier in a huge, massive battle. And there's all these different governments and kingdoms and everything involved in this. And Bailey shows up. Here's chapter 1.5. More precious than gold, more sought after than uranium, more scarce than yin-yang blossom, more needed than Salk vaccine, rarer than diamonds. And what is he talking about? Souls. Thefts had begun in earnest 500 years before. Random thefts stolen from the most improbable receptacles, from beasts and men and creatures who had never been thought to possess souls. But it changed life in the known universe. It brought about the existence of soul recruiters who pandered to the needs of the million, billion, trillion worlds, Shanghaiers, grave robbers of creatures not yet dead. In their way, thieves, even as the thieves, beings whose dark powers and abilities enabled them to fill the table of organization of any world with fresh souls from worlds that did not even suspect they existed. And one such of these was the succubus. Now, Bailey occupies these people. His soul occupies these people, and most of the souls are unable to communicate with the being that they're occupying. But Bailey possesses this ability. And so he enters Pink, and Pink begins to realize what's going on. Again, you can see the incredible typesetting that had to be done for this story. Here, Bailey is remembering a discussion with someone who thought he was working too much. And, I'll have a link to this. You can read it on the Internet Archive. You could probably read it on a cell phone, because there will be a lot of jockeying of the book on the cell phone's display. So, and this is the different thoughts that he's having. And he also shares thoughts with subaltern Pink. And Bailey begins to realize that Pink's war is unjustified, and Pink is being used in a disaster. So here is Bailey trying to talk to Pink. Pink looks like a one-eyed bear, is the description that we get here. You great ugly fur thing, you. Wake up, look around you. 100 years slaughtering. Why can't you see what's being done to you? How dumb can you be? The lords of propriety, they set you up. Well, there's a lot of this kind of stuff in here, as he doesn't just speak with Pink, but he does speak with Pink the most about this war that they're in. This is the instantaneous transfer and traveling that they do. They become one with their starships, essentially, beastcraft, and here, not here, not here, here. That's the travel time. So all this can happen very instantaneously. And Pink, we follow Pink through his training and mission and his thoughts and the brainwashing he has received. And they begin the attack. So Bailey is speaking to him a little bit during this time. But then he breaks through and gets Pink to try to call off the attack. And that's this right here. Of course, you've got to read this backwards. And here's Pink's thoughts and Bailey's thoughts side by side, simultaneously, thinking in Pink's mind. And here's Bailey continuing to speak to him. And he does break through. Pink remembers the endless sessions, remember the conditioning, remember the programming. And I won't tell you what happens from there, except the Lords of Propriety realized that Pink was not doing what they wanted them to do, and had the succubus jerk Bailey out of his mind, so Pink no longer has soul and crashes. So that's what happens there. But again, this is all very interesting stuff. The graphics are really great. Bailey ends up in a stalker cat for a while. And we see all of this very interesting stuff until we get to the end. And again, this would be a very difficult read from anything but a cell phone or having the actual book in hand. It starts here. The universe moved toward godhood. That's the first sentence in the center of the circle here. And I'll try to let you guys get a little better look at that. And the story comes to an end, but I don't want to show you that. So that is my review of The Region Between. The graphic on the front of the magazine is, of course, Bailey being very large before before the succubus gets hold of him. At any rate, just an incredibly inventive short story. It's not even a short story, it's a novella. But I've never seen anything like it before or since, and some of Ellison's concepts here are just mind-boggling. And I've never seen this story anthologized. I've never heard anyone else speak of it. It is pretty wild, and if you have the time to read something on the Internet Archive, and it's not an easy read, the story is written in such a way that you get a real feeling of Bailey being in someone else's head. So I think that's it for me today, and I hope everybody gets a chance to read The Region Between, especially the Galaxy edition. The book edition is great, but it doesn't have the great Gaughn illustrations. Thanks a lot, and have a good day.